The obvious question is, who buys a car like this?
Well, according to Squazzini, someone who wants the best has a lot of reasons for buying a Ferrari.
The performance, the drivability of the car. Many of our customers are ex-drivers, and they enjoy driving the car. Another reason is the exclusivity of the car. The car is a status symbol, so gives to one who owns the car a great image. Other buyers come because when they were little, they were child, they used to play with a little red Ferrari toy. And now that they are grown and they probably have made a lot of money, they want to buy the big red Ferrari as a toy. There is something that is common to all these people, and is the enthusiasm. When somebody buys a Ferrari, he doesn't buy a car. He buys something more.
And while Squazzini knows a lot about the people who buy Ferraris, he says he and others at the company were quite surprised when the producers of Magnum PI wanted one of their cars for Tom Selleck.
They decided that probably the image of Magnum was very suitable with the image of a sporty and very fast car. And now the success of this program and in the special way of the car, it really surprised us. It's something great. So some of our dealers told me that people come in and they say, I want the red Ferrari like the one of Magnum. So this is something very special. It happens, I think, in United States only.
We mentioned earlier that Crepaldi Ferrari here in Milan is the largest Ferrari dealership in the world, and this is Gaston Crepaldi, the owner, and he's the first to admit this is a good car, right?
That's good.
Thank you. We'll be back with more PM right after this from Milan, Italy. Stay there.
Scenes like these are the things dreams are made of. Like the dream of one day leaving the city and moving out here to the peace and serenity of the mountains in Utah. If that is your idea of living, then you and actor Robert Redford have something in common. This is all his land at a place called Sundance, Redford's ski resort near Provo, Utah.
One of the first things you notice about Sundance is this is not your ordinary ski resort. There are not a lot of shops. There is no condominium development. In fact, everything about this place is done with ecology in mind first.
And even though what one sees here seems very much like any other resort, manager Brent Beck says Redford has done things at Sundance with the land and not profit being his primary concern.
But what we've done is laid our runs out and seeded them properly so that we don't have erosion. We've come up with a seed mix that is good for the deer. We put an alfalfa, mountain brome, and intermediate wheat, and things that enhance the environment, that bring the wildlife back here, the grouse and the groundhog and the hawks. We've had some hawk studies. Bob has funded some studies through Brigham University on raptor research. And one of the pictures here on the office wall is Julie Lee, who did a wonderful research and has found that there are more species of hawks in this area living and nesting together and raising their young than anywhere they've found in America.
Sundance is a small resort where most people come simply for the day to ski and enjoy the scenery. It is not a plush place, but warm and comfortable, especially in the resort's restaurant called the Tree Room. The walls here are lined with photographs of the owner. Many are scenes from the Robert Redford movie Jeremiah Johnson, filmed here at Sundance. If this mountain looks familiar, it's where Jeremiah's cabin was located in the film. The cabin has since been destroyed by an avalanche. And while a movie star may own this ski resort, manager Beck says Redford has not strived to make it an in-place like Vail or other known resorts. Everything here is kept simple and environmentally sound.
And I think Redford needs to be handed a vote of thanks when he could have used his name. I mean, you can imagine what he could do to draw with all the little trinkets and the little things that they use in the Billy the Kids and cowboy hats and, you know, all the things that everybody uses to hype a resort. The name and the power of his name and the draw that he has. He won't allow us to do that. The area stands on its own 2 feet for what it is and what he wants it to be.
Well, even though there's not a lot of Redford hype, with pictures like these all around the place, it's obvious who owns Sundance. So it's to be expected that when most people visit this place, they want to know if Redford skis here.
But I mean, do people come here and they go, you know, hey, is Bob here today?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. And once they see him, they don't bother him. Yeah, he skis here, I'd say 40 to 50 days a year. We average 122 days, so it's, you know, about half the time.
So I'll ask you the typical question, is Bob here today?
No, he's not.
Oh. Sorry to hear that.
He heard you were coming.
Redford's permanent home is here at Sundance on that mountain over there, but because he is such a private man, they wouldn't let us get any closer than this. However, if you look closely, you can see his home. It's the large one over on the middle of the mountain there.
While we were not allowed to film Redford's home, we were able to visit his personal office at Sundance, where his skis and boots sit ready for him to hit the slopes at a moment's notice. The walls of his office are lined with photos, memories of movies in which he has starred or directed, not to mention pictures of friends, some famous, some not.
We probably see only a side of Robert Redford that is the publicity side. What is he really like?
Sweet, sincere, hardworking family man who loves the environment, loves the outdoors, loves his privacy, which he doesn't get, and is very, very funny. One of the most humorous, fun people I think I've ever been around. Great storyteller, but yet is a lover of the state of Utah, is a resident here. He's not a transplant. He's been here 15 years. He's voted here. He's paid taxes here. He's done, you know, made a great contribution to the state.
And one of those contributions has to be his love for the land and his drive to protect the natural beauty here at Sundance, while at the same time allowing the public to share his dream.
He's often said, the legacy we leave our children is all we're going to have. And it's important to me that my children have and enjoy what I've found in this land.
This is Utah, and for most people, these are the images that come to mind when one thinks of this western state. Majestic mountains, wide open spaces, beautiful scenery, some of the best skiing on the face of the earth, the Great Salt Lake, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, more commonly known as the Mormons. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir. It's probably one of the best-known facets about the Mormon Church. This is one of their weekly broadcasts for television and their national radio program. Like clockwork, the more than 350 members of the choir are here in the Tabernacle every Thursday night to rehearse for the Sunday broadcast. And for visitors who come here to watch, some may walk away thinking this is what the Mormons are all about. But there's a lot more.
The Mormon Church transcends just about every walk of life in this state. Most of the people here are Mormons. The governor, the mayor of Salt Lake City, the state's 2 U.S. senators, and all their congressmen are Mormons. And even some of the laws of this state reflect the Mormons' beliefs.
And because of the heavy Mormon influence in Utah, church spokesman Jerry Cahill says he sympathizes with outsiders who come to this state with the feeling they're entering a different culture.
Well, I suppose some of that has grown up because of, reports, historical reports that have described, and we ourselves describe ourselves at times as a peculiar people. We have a health code where we counsel our people not to smoke or drink alcoholic beverages. The state's liquor laws are such that that we don't have private enterprise, if you will, in the dispensing of liquor, and that gives a somewhat different flavor, although for those who wish it, liquor is available, but it's under a somewhat different condition. I suppose maybe it's more the historical sense that these people have a peculiar belief, some of their, this gathering syndrome that we went through for a good part of our history. We do tend to be, in our personal habits, conservative in terms of moral standards, which probably go against the grain of what's happening in the world, and we've stood pretty firm on those kinds of things, and I'm sure those reports are out there.
Now, if you're not familiar with the Mormon religion, here are some of their basic beliefs. The Mormons claim their founder, Joseph Smith, had a divine revelation saying 600 years before the birth of Christ, descendants of Israel came to the Americas and colonized. They also believe that after Christ died, he too came to the Americas and will return one day to rule over the New Jerusalem here in America and in the Middle East. But one of the most unusual things about the Mormons is their belief in the baptizing of their dead ancestors by proxy. Now, because of that, they have amassed the largest genealogical library in the world.
It is housed here at the Mormons' worldwide headquarters in Salt Lake. In this library, they've gathered together over 70 million names of people once living. This allows Mormons, or anyone else, the chance to search through 1 million rolls of microfilm and countless volumes of city, church, and birth records from all over the world and every state in the Union to find one's roots. For the general public, it is for curiosity. For the Mormons, it is part of their religious beliefs. Church spokesman Cahill says Mormons base this and other beliefs on the Book of Mormon, the Bible, and other writings they feel are scripture. The Mormons came to Utah in the 1840s following Brigham Young, who took the reins of the church after the death of founder Joseph Smith. Most of Utah's history is the movement and growth of the Mormon Church. And in Salt Lake City today, the influence of the Mormons is everywhere. From the city's statues, this is Brigham Young, to the layout of the streets, all emanating from the famous Temple and Temple Square, which is the center of everything in Salt Lake. Street signs reflect that, as do banks, as well as one of the largest department stores in the city, Zion's Cooperative Mercantile, a store owned by the church. And while many people may think visiting Utah is experiencing another culture, Cahill says Utah is much like any other state, and that Salt Lake is a very cosmopolitan city, with much of what outsiders think about his people being based on misconception, like the Mormons' belief in polygamy.
It is true that for a period of our history, we practiced plural marriage. We believe it was by divine mandate, just as Abraham and other of the patriarchs of the Old Testament were given that privilege by the Lord. But not since 1890 has the church practiced polygamy, and in fact today we teach that those who seek to even advocate the practice of polygamy, let alone practice it themselves, are subject to immediate excommunication from the church.
So now you know a little about the Mormons, a people that make Utah one of the most unique states in the Union.
Sounds like Dolly Parton, and they brought their own chorus too. Isn't that incredible? Absolutely. And now from Louisiana, we have quite a group, ladies and gentlemen. We have Mark Cousins, Kevin Breen, and Angelo Misterioso, as he calls himself. And they are known as the Wild Ibizabas. Yes, indeed. You heard it right here. The flashbulbs are popping and ready. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are, Mark, Kevin, and Angelo as the Wild Ibizabas. There they are. Here's Pooh laugh at us.
Thunderous applause, thunderous applause. Gets better.
Before it gets worse. You know how to play this thing?
honestly, it's not a comedy act. Yes, over here.